Hello and welcome back to another nail video. Today I am doing my sister's nails and she is way overdue for a fill-in, but I am going to get her together today. I am starting off using my Melody Susie e-file and my 5-in-1 nail drill bit to remove the gel polish off of her nails. Now these are her natural nails with an acrylic overlay, and she does like to keep her nails nice and short, so we are also going to be cutting her nails down today. But I am just taking my time and removing her gel polish. I do have my e-file set to about 7,000 RPMs because that is the speed I am most comfortable with, and I'm just taking my time to remove her gel polish. But I am so excited about today's video. I am going to be giving you all some tips and tricks for your acrylic application as well as your acrylic prep. And one tip for nail techs, if you're trying to get better with your timing, you can always set a timer for yourself in the beginning before you start the set. Typically, I like to set a timer of an hour and a half for myself, and I just try to beat the clock. I don't know, I think it's just like a mind thing. If you are conscious and you're aware that you have a certain time to be done by, you just tend to work a little quicker. And that has helped me in the past kind of get a little quicker, is to just set a timer for myself and try to beat the clock. Another tip for nail techs is to always prep your nail station or your desk before your client arrives. And this includes knowing the design that they're going to get as well as the color, which can help you save time and just make the process a little easier. And once all the gel polish is removed, I am going to be doing one of the most important first steps for the acrylic prep, which is to push back the client's cuticles. I want to expose all of that new growth so that the client's nails can last a very, very long time. Next, I'm using my cuticle nail drill bit. Now, this is a cone-shaped cuticle bit, and I just use this to remove the dead cuticles around her cuticle area. Now, I do take my time with this step because I want to make sure that I remove all of her dead cuticles from her nail bed, because if I don't, and let's just say I get some product on those dead cuticles, eventually that can cause the nails to lift, which is what we want to avoid. So doing your acrylic prep is extremely important because that can really determine if these nails are going to last or not. Next, I am using my 180 grit sanding band to go around the cuticle area as well as her natural nail and across the top of the acrylic. This is just to remove the shine from her natural nail as well as etch the surface of the acrylic nail so that the product has something to stick to. One tip when you're doing acrylic nails, you always want to etch the surface before your acrylic application so that the product has somewhere to stick. And next, I am using my cuticle nippers to carefully go around her cuticle area and nip away all of her dead cuticles. One tip, you know the cuticle is dead if it's white or it's very thick and kind of lifted. So I always try to get the bottom part of the cuticle nipper underneath her cuticle before I do the cut. That way I know that I'm only gonna cut the actual dead cuticle and not her skin. And last but not least, I am using my cuticle ball drill bit to go around her cuticle area once more. And this is just helping to smooth out the skin around her cuticle area so that it is nice and pretty for the final set. Next, I am using my 80/80 grit nail file to file and shape her nails. Again, like I mentioned before, she does like her nails very short. So I went ahead and clipped the nails off camera just a bit with the nail clipper. And now I am just filing and shaping her nails. She does not like the very straight corners. She likes them to be a little round. So I am rounding off the corners per her request. But also I am using the 80/80 grit file instead of a 180 grit file, which is recommended for the natural nail simply because she does have acrylic still left on her nails. And I went ahead and cleaned these nails off camera, got rid of all of the dust and debris, and I also dehydrated her nails. One tip that I wanted to mention is if you don't have any dehydrator, you can always use acetone to dehydrate your client's nails. And then I went ahead and primed her twice. Now, for the perfect one bead application, first I do my application while my primer is still wet. Next, I place my bead of acrylic a little before the cuticle area, and then I push that product back towards the cuticle area. I try to get it nice and snug with the cuticle area so that it is as flush as possible. And then I just pat that product down in place. Again, I want to keep the product nice and flat. And then I just take my time with it. And there we have the perfect one bead method. Now, this does take a lot of trial and error, but if you follow the steps and continue to practice, you will definitely get better. A couple things to mention. Also, when you're picking up your bead of acrylic, you never want to lay it directly on the client's nail right away. Just give it a couple seconds to polymerize. That way you're not chasing after that bead of acrylic. It should be nice and still when you put the acrylic down on the client's nail, like you just saw. When I placed this bead of acrylic, it did not move anywhere, and it allows me time to manipulate the product and get it to go where I need it to. Also, another tip for nail techs when you're doing your acrylic application is that the temperature in the room definitely matters. You don't want the temperature to be too cold or too hot because that can cause your acrylic to dry either too slow or too quickly. So it should definitely stay around room temperature or about 74 degrees Fahrenheit. And of course, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I am priming these nails, and I do suggest priming your client hand one at a time, because the primer only lasts about 10 to 15 minutes, and you still want that primer to be wet when you're doing your acrylic application, because that helps with retention. And again, for that perfect one ball method, you place the acrylic a little before the cuticle area. Then you use the tip of your brush to push that product back so that it is nice and snug to the cuticle area. And then you just pat that product down. Again, I want to keep it nice and flat. And then I just try to manipulate the acrylic so that it is where I need it to be. One tip that I learned, I always start with the thumb because it is the biggest nail and it is the most forgiving. So once you start with the thumb, you kind of set the tone and get a routine or a pace for yourself, and it makes the rest of the process so much easier. Also, I forgot to mention for today's video, I am using Young Nails Clear Acrylic, Mia's Secret Liquid Monomer, and my number 12 Panna Kalinsky brush. I will leave a link in the description box down below for all the products used in today's video. And if you've made it this far in the video, definitely leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you are enjoying all the nail content. And after I am done with my acrylic application, I am using that same 80/80 grit nail file to file and shape these nails. And one tip and trick also, if you have a smooth acrylic application, that can cut down on your filing time tremendously. So I have been working so hard to be able to master my acrylic application, because if you are not new to the channel, you know I hate filing and shaping. It's my least favorite part of doing nails. I'm going to be honest. I know it has to be done, but I do not like to do it. So I've learned if I have a nice acrylic application, that can really cut down on my time for filing and shaping. I mean, it can really be so exhausting on your body when you're filing. You literally use all of your muscles. So if you can help prevent that by having a smooth acrylic application. Then I use my 5-in-1 nail drill bit to gently go around her cuticle area as well as across the nail. And this just helps seal her cuticles. That way, there's kind of like a barrier in between her cuticle and the nail so that no water or anything can get in between. And also it smooths out the product across the nail so that it is a nice thin nail. Remember, the nails don't have to be thick at all, especially considering the fact that this is an acrylic overlay. She just has a small thin layer of acrylic on top of her natural nails to keep her nails healthy and protected. And I went ahead and buffed her nails off camera. I sent her to the washroom to wash her hands to get rid of all of that dust and debris so that we have a nice clean surface for some nail art today. And one tip before I do any gel polish, I always apply a very thin layer of base coat, which is what I'm doing here. I am using Madam Glam's base coat, and I'm applying a thin layer to each nail. And then I'm going to have her cure her nails for 30 seconds. And for today's set, we decided to do some cute, fun summer nails. We actually saw this set off Pinterest and got inspired. So we are kind of using the same colors and a little bit of the same theme of the nails, but I did add a little twist. And so I am using this beautiful blue. I don't know if I would call it a royal blue. It's more like a light blue color, and I'm just applying a thin layer to her pinky as well as her thumbnail. And for her ring finger, I am applying this beautiful Madam Glam color. I remember the name. It's Cream Silk because I love this color so much. It's a very cute sheer color with glitter inside. And it's just really pretty in person. I promise the camera is not doing justice. But I'm just applying a thin color on her ring finger and middle finger. And then for her first finger, we are using this really pretty peachy color. I guess I would say it's a peachy color. And for all the nails, I end up applying 3 thin layers just because these are sheer colors, and I didn't want the nails to be see-through, so I went ahead and applied 3 coats of each color. And of course, I am curing for 60 seconds in between each coat. And once I'm done with that, I am moving right along to some nail art. I'm just using my dotting tool to help me create some beautiful summer flowers in the same colors, this peachy color. You might even consider it coral. And I'm just using it to create a really pretty flower kind of on the corner of the nail. And of course, what I am doing to one hand, I'm also going to be doing to the other. So I will just let you all watch and enjoy as I complete her nail art. And last but not least, I am finishing this set by applying a very thin layer of Madame Glam's No Wipe Top Coat to each nail. And then I'm going to cure these nails for 60 seconds. And these are how the nails turned out. So cute. She loves them, and so do I. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you learned how to do the perfect one ball acrylic method, as well as some tips and tricks for your acrylic prep and application. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next nail video.